Children of the night, what music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's that?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Welcome to the 150th podcast of The Final Guys.
They said it shouldn't be done. And we did it.
We did it. And this is the last one because our main feature tonight is Verotika, which is based on the Elvis Costello song I Can Only...
Veronika!
Oh, wait. It's not Veronika.
No.
It's not the Archie girlfriend.
I wish.
It's Verotika, which I have found out I think is a mix of the word violence and erotica.
Which equals fucking dumb.
Save it. Save it. The Glenn Danzig future classic, Verotika, will be our main feature. And we got a lot to say about it. So this one's going to be probably going to go long.
Unexpurgated.
There is no doubt this is going long.
I'm so strapped in for tonight. I even brought a cigar. I'm going to light up and smoke and drink tonight.
That's perfect. You look like you just won the World Series. So I'm Jack.
Never.
I'm Jack. That's Jason and Hunter, the Final Guys. Everybody in the chat room. Hello, everybody. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
I'm so excited. We had such a great movie for 150. I just can't even tell you.
Yeah. We were thinking of Underwater, but we said, why have a love fest probably for a monster movie? Why not take a big Cleveland steamer on somebody?
Why pick a mediocre movie when you can have an all-time classic?
Oh my God.
Let's spend money on this instead.
Yeah, that's the best part, that it cost us money.
Well, it's good that we are, because apparently his not sequel, but his second film is already finished shooting and it's in post-production.
Oh
It's
boy.
a spaghetti western vampire or werewolf movie. I cannot wait.
Right. I hope it's based on his comic books. They seem to be a great source.
Oh God. I love this man.
Before we get to Verotika, we're going to do something special tonight. We're going to look back at the past 150 episodes and talk about our 3 favorite or most remarkable movies and our 3 least favorite movies that we've covered.
Remarkable.
And what if we do this is like our 4th year now?
Sure.
Well,
just about to enter it.
We started in 2017, May 2017.
Wow.
Jesus.
So this would be our 4th season coming up here in a few weeks.
Season 4. Get it on DVD and Blu-ray.
I just noticed in the chat, our pal Tim Meyer said, I can't bring myself to watch Verotika.
Are you kidding, Tim?
This feels like it would be right in this guy's wheelhouse.
I know.
Tim, you're missing out, dude. I'm telling you.
By the way, I love the smoke effect on the video right now for me. Looks like I'm on fire.
It's nice.
It looks like a scene out of Verotika.
Let the bloodletting begin.
You just has to do a French accent that makes no sense.
Oh, is it so?
I gotta stop. I'm just gonna start going into this movie.
Okay, so before we get started, the Final Guys drinking game is on.
Oh yeah.
What are the words for tonight?
Jason, you want to post them up so I can read them?
Got it.
Here we go. Every week we have a drinking game. I'm prepared this week. I will drink and smoke by the words. So if Jason says the words worst cult comedy, doesn't have to be in a sentence. It's those 3
me,
words.
not Jason.
Oh, Jack. Sorry. Yeah, Jack. If you say it. If I say moist nipple or face.
You got nipple?
I got a moist nipple face. Jason, if you say first laughing and albino, you all got to take a drink. And if any of us say nude Danzig, that's going to happen a lot. Or
my
episode
words are,
drink.
New Danzig an episode. My words are worst cult comedy, which could be my 3-word review of this movie.
Done. Episode over. Me and Jason will just finish from here.
Check out. All right, no news because there's nothing going on. We'll get back to news next week.
Yeah, stay tuned next week for the Tremors news. You're not gonna want to set your ass blasters to stun for the Tremors news.
Before we get going, Hunter and I on Monsterman have been doing horror hangouts. We've got a new one up with Glenn Rolfe, which is great. I think it's one of the best conversations we've ever had. It's funny, but it's also a little poignant, I would say.
It is. We got real. And we're going to interview Shane Keane and Rich Duncan from Ink Heist next. So,
well, the next episode that drops is the Ask the Monster Men. That's on.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes, but after that,
2 weeks will be Ink Heist. That's going to be a shit show.
That's going to be weird. Get ready.
We might have something brewing for this show too. We're hoping someone reached out to us, so we'll see.
Hang on, unless we're getting catfished.
And I want to bring something up. Why this is the best time in human history to be in self-isolation quarantine. Just an example. I said I was saving to reread Boy's Life from Robert McCammon, which is, to me, arguably the best horror novel ever written, arguably the best American novel written of the 20th century, inarguably the best coming-of-age novel ever. You make a face, Jason, I'll punch you. So it is. It's amazing. So I said, you know what? Let me just start reading it now. And as I'm reading it, in the beginning, the main character, who's a boy, he sees invaders from Mars, and it kind of screws him and his friends up, and it scares him. It leads the whole episode in the book. And I was like, let me see if that's on Amazon Prime. So I got to watch Invaders from Mars and really feel. I just watched it before I came up here. So you couldn't pick a bet. If this was 1918 with the Spanish flu, this ain't happening. So be grateful for what you have.
Yeah, I mean, when you compare it to the Spanish flu, things are pretty good. You're right.
Jesus Christ, this is great. I watch Spanish TV. I see a lot of half-naked women. It's all good.
It was a lot harder to do like Zoom meetings back then too, because the dial-up was terrible.
Yeah,
very difficult. So
I never read Boy's Life. I'll have to read it. How thick are we talking?
Yeah, we're talking 600 pages.
It's a long read.
I feel audiobook coming on.
And that's one book where I won't skip a word. I won't even skip a the. It's poetry. 600 pages of poetry.
Poetry in motion. Okay, so let's get into. We don't really have bumpers for this, so. Anything else to announce before we get going?
No.
Nope.
But Audra said my new nickname is Moist Nipple Face.
Yeah, my wife is already in the chat saying she can't wait to hear it over and over and over.
Look, I apologize. I will send you a gift for whatever's going to happen tonight.
A Twinkie, because it's moist sponge cake.
Moist.
Ooh, the Boy's Life audio book just got a plug.
I have a feeling that the next time I drive through the Maryland border, I'm just going to get punched in the face.
I
Even
know
if
when
I'm
we
not
meet
coming
Jason,
to see Jason, there's a boom.
Jason, when we meet you in real life and you're like 2 feet taller than each one of us, we're going to be so much nicer to you.
It's going to be funny. I won't hear anything mean.
I'm just going to do a straight headbutt to the balls.
Maybe I'll just put my arms on each of your heads.
Whatever.
I have a great picture. I think it was when I met Tim Meyer. He was like up to my shoulder.
Oh, Tim Meyer, since you're listening, you posted a picture of yourself in like a chopping mall shirt with the long hair, and all I thought of was, oh, the Winter Soldier is a fan of Barbara Crampton's.
Yeah, he's got that hair going now. By the way, his Dead Daughters book is fucking-nomical. I've been drinking for hours, ladies and gentlemen, so bear with me. It's great.
Just started sipping a little bourbon tonight in my Bigfoot glass.
Nice.
Yeah, I just started Tim's book. It's I'm digging it so far.
Yeah, it's really good.
Hot diggity. All right, so let's get into this. We'll do. How do you want to do this? Just go around in a circle. You want to do the least favorite or the favorites first?
Circle jerk,
or go on and off. Go.
Let's start with least, because we're ending with a movie that's amazing. So that would be a good little buffer.
Are we making a shit sandwich?
All right. So do you want to go in like this is the third, like work up to the worst one?
Of course.
Oh,
It's a
God.
countdown.
Okay, so I'm hosting, so I'll let one of you fellas go first.
Jason, you're our leadoff hitter.
All right. I had best up. All right. My worst. The order of these three could be interchangeable, but I think
I know
I'm gonna
one of
go-
them.
You know all three of them. Number 3, I'm going with The Dark Tower. Now, this was, if you're going by most disappointed, this is my number 1 because I
Right.
love The Dark Tower. My wife wants to get a Dark Tower tattoo. This is just an epic series for me. So,
For reals?
yeah, we love The Dark Tower.
Wow.
So,
okay.
when the movie came out, to say I was disappointed was a bit of an understatement. But compared to the other 2 movies ahead of it, I can objectively say it's a better film than the ones I'll talk about later. So I decided to put it number 3. It deserves a mention. And you remember how pissed off everybody was when this came out over the casting and this was that and so-and-so is in here. And it was like none of that ended up being any problem, like any of the problems this movie had. There was so much wrong with it at different levels that what everybody complained about didn't even matter. It's a beautiful film, and I feel like the director probably has a Tim Meyer quote about it somewhere, printed
bloody
and
disgusting,
framed in his house. He's the only guy who liked it. So there you go. Number 3 for me is The Dark Tower.
Very nice.
All right.
It's hard to argue with that.
My number 3 could easily have been in my top 3. It's a close call. We did get a lot of views on this too. The Haunting of Sharon Tate with Hilary Duff.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
That movie. As much as a duffer, I'm a duffer. I love Hilary Duff. By the way, did you see her new haircut? She's got like blue hair or something. She looks really good.
You know, I
She was
forgot to
just-
check her Instagram.
She's I'm rewatching Community, and she was just in an episode in season 2.
Really? Oh. So yeah, that was a pretty bad movie. Especially coming off Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, oh, here's a cool Manson reimagining. Here's
oh, Roman. Oh, Roman.
Here, but I do remember when I watched that movie, I'm like, what the hell is she doing with her speech affectation? And then I was watching Sharon Tate videos going, oh, she actually nailed that. That's the one thing she got right.
I don't know. She nailed it.
Close enough. Jesus Christ. If you're in Lizzie McGuire, you get a pass. So
when they were playing his actual music in the movie, do you remember that?
Pretty offensive.
I'm like, are you for real?
So
the scars have healed. It's fine.
The guy who made that movie, the next one, which is something like The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, is out, but it's pay-per-view now. If it ever is free, we got to do that, and it looks like 10 times more offensive than this one.
And it's fresher.
That's maybe episode 200.
Yeah, like I watched the trailer and I'm really curious about it, but also just the trailer offended me.
I'm hoping episode 200 is A Night with Nigel Bach and us in his freaking house on Stillmanville Road.
God
We're
damn
entering year 4 and the man will not respond to us. Come on.
I don't know. Kind of being a jerk about everything.
All right. My number 3 is none other than The Nun.
Ooh,
what a film.
That was a tough one.
What a steaming pile of garbage that movie was. And I just remember, cheap jump scares and things like that. Those Blumhouse or whatever, those movies, they know how to set up some good jump scares, and visually they can look good. But I just kept looking at my watch going, please let this stupid movie be over. There was just so much dumbness.
You're right.
Yeah. That's one of the things that really gets me is when I'm just like halfway through a movie and I just pause it to see how much longer is left. I'm like, oh my God, I have another hour of this.
Haven't I been here for 2?
Yeah. Just so The Nun for me. Now I'm going to caveat this whole thing by saying I never saw Winchester. You guys did. So that is not on my list, and I
Dude,
can't consider it.
That's going to be Jason's number one.
So
What?
I'm going to predict that right now.
because I still can't find it for free. I will watch that movie when I can get it for free. But I haven't seen it for
Winchester
free.
looks like Clockwork Orange next to the Nun.
Ludwig van number 9. So the Nun is my number 3.
All right. Let's see. My number 2 was The Nun.
Which is a steaming pile of number 2.
I couldn't believe what I was watching. The first half was like, this isn't very good. But then the last half, when you find out it's just Demon Knight, there's like a key with Christ's blood in it.
Yes.
But not good Demon Knight.
Yeah. And then it's, I don't know. It's like she's an X-Men Dark Phoenix at the end. The nun is using telekinetic powers and
Crazy powers.
like trying to drown her in a whirlpool in the basement of this monastery or whatever the hell. I mean, it was glorious.
Now, the nun's name is Valak, and for the record, in the John Carpenter's vampire movie and the book that it was based on, the head vampire was Valak.
That's right.
Mm.
So,
Which is a much more entertaining movie than this.
That's
Yes.
unfortunate.
Yeah, this was just one of those that you're looking at it and you're thinking, man, this movie had a pretty big budget. You could have made like 6 good Blumhouse movies
yes.
for the cost of this.
At least.
And you know, the first Conjuring is a pretty good movie. It's got.
I like the second too.
I didn't like the second one. I thought it was over the top, but it's way better. It's Citizen Kane compared to the Nun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. It's just one of those, we took a bullet for you people. Give it a pass.
Well, you're going to be shocked at my number 2. It's the Nun. I'm not going to say
quick asterisk.
Yeah.
My order is very interchangeable. So
Well, yeah, it doesn't. I mean, whatever. Story about when I saw the Nun. I saw the Nun with my daughter, my oldest daughter, and her friend who was about to become a Mormon missionary in South America. So, very God-fearing girl. And me, like the piece of garbage I am, I take these girls out for the movies and I proceed to drink the highest alcohol content beer I can find and get so shit-faced I fall asleep off and on through the movie and feel like I've missed nothing when I wake up. And then when we're in the car, I'm trying to convince her friend that there's no such thing as God and everything she believes in is a sham.
Wow.
So I was kind of like the anti-nun. But I have a lot of theological background. So I was hitting her with stuff and she said, I don't know. I'm asking her questions about her faith. I don't know. I've never thought of that. Nobody's ever asked me that. I'm like, oh. Like when I sobered up, I'm like, God, I might have just screwed this girl up who's like planning to do really good stuff in the world. Thank God she didn't listen to me like most people don't. So she went on and she has done fabulous things in her life. But that's what I take from that piece of garbage movie is piece of garbage me. Still not affecting somebody who was, close to Jesus.
The lesson she learned was don't take advice or go to the movies with the Shays because it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah. She gets a kick out of me. Like most people, I'm like an amusement. I'm like an oddity in a freak show. Oh, by the way, thanks, Badderbobcat 151 for our happy 150th.
he is a Badderbobcat. Bobcat, I'll say that.
Badderbobcat. Badderbob. I just like saying it.
Is it my turn?
I have
No, it's
lost
Jack's
track of
turn.
who-
Oh.
Jack,
I
you're
thought I
number
just
2.
went.
No, Jack, it's you because Jason, me, you. What's your number 2? Your
My
3
number
was the
2.
Nun.
Okay. My number 2 is the Dark Tower.
Good.
Now, here's why the Dark Tower is lower than the Nun or higher. It's worse, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is because while the Nun sucked, I thought it had more going for it as far as it had a couple of good constructed jump scares and it had some visually cool stuff. So I thought maybe like for a starter horror and, a 15-year-old Halloween party or something, that's a good movie to put in. But the Dark Tower was just such a wasted opportunity and such a bland piece of garbage that it was another one of those movies I'm sitting in the theater going, I have not read the Dark Tower. I've been looking for a really good adaptation of this, and I knew 15 minutes into it that we weren't getting that.
It's
And
like
so
a bad episode of Late Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
Happy Days after Richie left.
Exactly.
So yeah, what a waste.
You know, I think maybe my favorite scene from that, and it's this little thing, but we get 5 minutes, like a 5-minute montage of him teaching the kid how to shoot the guns because they're going into the final battle. And then he takes the guns away and says, "But you're not going to use these. These are for me." I'm like, what?
Thanks for wasting our time.
What in the hell? I mean, you know, not counting the Matthew McConaughey mutant fight scene at the end with the bullet ricochets and.
Did they pull him in saying it's a Cadillac commercial and just pull a bait and switch?
There was something.
That was weird, man.
It's you're saying all this. I don't remember any of that.
You don't remember when he shoots the bullet and ricochets it, and then he shoots a bullet straight at McConaughey and then shoots another bullet that ricochets and catches up and deflects the first bullet so that McConaughey can't dodge it or something. It's great.
It's all a blur.
It's the best movie.
I remember I was in a theater in Dobbs Ferry, New York, and I started to go, "Oh, I need more scotch." I got up and got a couple of scotches.
That's a good call while watching this film.
That was one of those movies I went and saw by myself just because it was our movie. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go see like a matinee. So there I am out in like a friggin' empty theater on like a sunny afternoon. And the thing is just going on forever. And I'm just like cursing you two. Like, son of like,
well, wait a second. I'm not a Dark Tower fan.
Well, yeah, okay, that one was my fault. That's fine.
Yeah, that's all Jason. I had never read any of the Dark
we were going to see it anyway because it was the new release, but you know how it goes. You got to
The Dark Tower's my fault, but my number one, Winchester, is not my fault.
What a shock. Winchester. Oh my God.
I'll never forget someone saying it has Helen Mirren in it. At this point of her career, she doesn't have to do bad movies.
I think that was a logical assumption.
It was faulty.
At 70, you shouldn't have to do schlock.
This movie, it's one of the only times, I think there may have been another movie where I was laughing at the end of a horror movie.
This can't be but you're just doing this to hurt me.
The end of this movie was so insane. I was literally laughing out loud, and it's the first time my wife has ever shushed me in the movie theater.
Good for your wife.
Because I was just laughing uncontrollably at where this film went. I don't even have words for it. It's hard to believe. What had the directors done before this? They did that vampire movie where they were harvesting humans for blood in factories. Daywalkers
that
or
now
like
for
that?
people with
Daybreakers or something like that.
Daybreakers.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, and
Dayman.
Predestination. Good film.
Fighter of the Nightman.
I wish I had my Green Man costume.
Just any movie where the whole purpose of the film is an anti-gun message, and then at the end, the heroine saves the day with guns is just amazing. This movie was special.
It had the perfect set piece, and they just wasted that. I want to remake that movie. Someone give me money. Blumhouse, I don't need a lot. Just let me do it, please. Champion of the Sun. Thanks, Lord.
It's so good.
Oh, all right. My number one. Here, I'm going to crap on YouTube pedophiles. Spider-Man Far From Home. I never felt so uncomfortable and out of place watching a stupid effing movie for this podcast than that movie.
Did you watch it for this? I didn't think you.
Yeah, I did. I was there. Did not like. I felt like I was 40 years too old to be watching this. It's like going to a friggin' Disney cartoon in a matinee.
This is why nobody listens to you.
No, get away. Get lost. That movie's horrible. I like all the horror. I even like bad horror movies, so I don't like these superhero movies, and that's the one that just makes me feel icky. So that's my number one. Stupid.
I am glad something made you icky because everything you say makes everybody else feel icky legitimately. So
right.
for a fun
That's my
family
boundary.
movie to make you feel icky. Something that is good and pure made you. It's like Dracula
And watch
looking at
it
the
with
cross.
my family.
A
You don't
cross
have a family?
Dracula looks at a cross and he feels icky because it's goodness.
You're
And
sitting
you're
there
the same
watching
exact thing.
with your tent pole pants by yourself down the block from your house on the matinee. What the hell is wrong with you? Go watch Inside Seika or something. Don't be watching that stuff. That's for kids.
The fact that you know porn stars' names like that,
Jack,
it
you were
makes
with me.
you icky.
You were with me when I
I didn't know
a
who she
drink
was.
at the bar.
Seika's over there. I thought it was one of the wild Samoans, Alpha and Seika.
No, Seika the porn star bought her a drink and had a drink with her while I would let you and my wife starve to death. That's my number one. That's literally the one movie that got under my skin that I had to review for this show. In all these years, that's the one. No, all the others, I don't care. I like bad movies. But that's the one I was like, oh God, this feels like homework. I'm back in high school.
Good.
Awesome.
I also don't like the Into the Spider-Verse thing either. I think that was stupid too.
Oh, I thought that was great.
I would prefer Spider-Man on Electric Company.
Okay.
Y'all can hate me. Send your letters to 123 P.O. Box. Go fuck yourself. New York, New York. 666.
That was a sick burn, man.
Breathe in that cancer, please. All right. My number one or whatever, worst one is The Haunting of Sharon Tate. And because it's so offensive. That just
oh my God.
What a I mean, I already kind of said it when you were talking about it. I just was watching this movie going, I can't believe they made this movie. Like the rewriting history stuff that Quentin Tarantino didn't sit that well with me, but that's his little shtick or whatever. It wasn't offensive though. This, it's just like one thing after the other. Yeah, playing the real Charles Manson thing. The disgracing of the family, the bad acting, the poor writing.
Wait,
there was
I'll
just
defend Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff is fine. I like her. Just she happened
when I
to
come to your house on Thursday, I will not practice social distancing. I'm not going to lick your face.
Put on a Lizzie McGuire mask.
I have a Lizzie McGuire sleeping bag still from when my kids were young.
I'll be a Haley Duff. Vote for Summer.
Vote for Summer. My hair feels hot.
All right, so that's our worst movies. Now we'll go to our best movies. Now this one was hard too because any one of these could have been favorites or whatever. So
yeah,
this was actually easy for me. I didn't even have to look at the list. I was like, boom, 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 done.
I just went off memory. I didn't really look at the list either, but we saw a lot of freaking good movies for this show. So, but I went with my third one is not the third best movie we saw, but it was probably the best theater experience I've had since high school. And that was A Quiet Place. Watching that in a theater full of people with nobody making a freaking sound was so intense. And somebody was eating popcorn 3 or 4 seats down from me, and everybody was shushing them because it was just so crazy how into it everybody was. And it's one of those movies that when you think about some of the parts later, it's like, yeah, okay, the corn, yeah, all right. But in a packed theater, it was just such a fun experience, and I absolutely freaking loved watching it. So I'm putting that at my number 3 just because I will remember that for a very long time.
I got shushed in that movie because I was eating popcorn.
They didn't serve popcorn when I went.
I had to slap that shit out of your hands.
They had a big sign. We will only serve soft food.
Wow.
Well, that's because you things in a retirement home.
I was like, well, the softest food I can think is a Wrench IPA from Industrial Arts Brewing. So bring that on.
Nice. What's your first one?
Number 3, I guess. I'm going to go. Now, I went with ones that gave me the most joy. Here's a hint. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
Oh, God.
I
Wow.
loved when we did Thanksgiving. That has actually become a steady rotation movie for me. And every time I watch it, it only gets better. And by the way, this is the guy who did, what's that movie he did with the warrior?
Headhunter.
Headhunter. So there were some chops in there. This movie's just fun. This movie is like, remember when Wednesday nights before Thanksgiving, that's the night when you went out with your friends drinking. That's one of the biggest drinking nights of the year. That's become because I'm too old to do that. Drinking alone in my boxer shorts, watching Thanksgiving and laughing to myself and getting falling asleep early so I can get up and make turkey at 5 a.m. But I think that movie is a load of fun, and it's one of the few like true Thanksgiving horror movies that we have out there. So
It's maybe the only.
I had a blast. It's not the only, but it's the best.
Have you watched the sequel yet?
Of course. Part
Oh.
3.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Yeah. It's look, the original is always the best. Stick with the original. But I thought our conversation with that was fun, and I had a blast bringing that to the masses.
That's good. Good. That's surprising. Definitely surprising.
Your list is befuddling me.
Oh, my whole list is going to shock you.
It's good entertainment value. I just keep telling myself that
Well, that's what I'm going for. I'm not going for the best movies. I mean, that's
He can't help the brain damage. I just keep trying to remind myself it's not his fault.
It's not.
So
My mom drank and smoked the entire time she was pregnant with me.
Your mother cut a hole in her belly button and just stuck cigarettes in.
I'll never forget when I found out that I have a bad left shoulder and it kept dislocating and dislocating. And I thought it was the injury from playing football. And finally, a doctor, like after the 14th dislocation, goes, "Yeah, that's a birth defect. Your bones were never made correctly." I was like, keep bragging about your Tom Collins you were drinking when you were pregnant with me. She owes me reparations.
I hope somewhere this is somebody's first time listening to us.
I do too.
It would be amazing.
All right. I don't know how I follow that up.
Good luck.
I'm going to go with, so I took a quick look at the list of movies we've covered, and there was a lot of great stuff, like you said. It was hard to pick, hard to say, yeah, I like this one more than this one, whatever. So I kind of, like you guys were saying, went for experience and what was I thinking about afterwards and whatever. So while some non-movies that almost made the list, like Haunting of Hill House and Black Summer, were two things that like I loved so much, but I'm not going to put them in the top 3 or something like that. And they weren't movies, but those are things that I'm like, wow, for this show, I loved covering them. But the number 3, I went with Ready or Not, because I had a tremendous experience in the thing. Me and my niece saw it, and we had a blast. And the ending of that movie is so great. I enjoyed the whole thing, and Samara Weaving is great. Everything was so great, but the ending was so good that you just left on such a high note. And anytime I think about that movie, I'm just like, this is a great horror movie that normies can like, horror guys can like, everybody. And anytime somebody actually sticks a landing in this industry, it's time to stop and rejoice. So, like, again, I can't wait to watch it again. What a blast. So I'm going to put it at number 3.
Any movie that gets humor right nowadays is just a huge bonus. I feel like humor in movies has taken such a slide the last decade or so.
God money. That's true. And they killed kids. Good for them.
And the guy from Jennifer's Body was really good in it too. What's his name?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Great movie. That didn't even occur to me. That's such a good one. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
So next up, I picked Hereditary. This is another one that this actually was.
That's a feel-good movie.
This was an awful theater experience for me, but the movie was so good that it just overcame the guy 3 rows back going the whole movie. I don't know what was wrong with him.
Maybe he had Tourette's.
Every 30 seconds to a minute, he just had a hairball and he just could not get the goddamn thing out.
You should have answered with a
dude. I was like getting ready to turn around and my wife had to stop me from it was like a 65-year-old dude and I was just going to go pummel him. And but the movie, sucked me in to a degree that I still have
You
not.
haven't been sucked in a long time.
Yeah, it was reminding me of high school.
Back
I've
when
not
days
watched
were
this.
moist.
I have not watched this movie since, and
Really?
I keep wanting to revisit it, but it's so intense that I always have to be in the right mood. And every time I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I'll do this. It's like, oh, but there's Ready or Not, and that's just more fun. So I've only seen it one time, and I remember so much of this movie. It's crazy. Which, when you consider how much shit we watch, things start to get hazy for me after a while.
Yeah.
And this movie has just perfect clarity in my mind. It is genius.
I've seen it 3 times, I think. Or maybe 4.
I love it. I love it.
It's
Brilliant.
so funny. It wasn't my favorite movie of that year, but it's the artistry of it and the performances that just kill me.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 2, Bad Ben. No movie has had a greater, longer lasting impact on this show than Nigel Bach's Made in My House with my cameras that I got at Best Buy. Bach. I mean, it's amazing. Look,
Yep.
It's an unsteady series. There are definite clunkers in there, but we would pay money to see whatever the next thing is going to be.
Yeah.
The great thing about that,
in.
the great thing about that first Bad Ben, I think I saw Bad Ben before we covered it.
I did.
And I remember, so a friend of mine from work just saw it and said, "Have you seen this found footage movie about Bad?" So I went in thinking that this was just like a legit mainstream movie, and I'm watching it going, "This is kind of weird, whatever." But for a while, you haven't figured out the Nigel Bach thing yet.
No.
So you're just kind of watching it, and it's unfolding, and then the more ridiculous it gets, we're like, "Wait, is this a comedy or is this somebody just trying to?"
And he kind of, like the first one, I remember he said he wasn't playing it as a comedy. So he was playing it straightforward. And then he's leaned more into the comedy. He's gotten better at what he does. So the more Nigel in it, the better the movie is.
Yes. 100%.
By far, the shorter the movie, the better it is. Like I just read an article about Battlestar Galactica the second time around and how, like, the first 39 are great. The last 36 kind of meander. And 20 episode seasons were maybe a little too much. Just like maybe an hour and a half is a little too much. I think 75 minutes is perfect for Bad Ben.
Yep.
But Jason, you own a t-shirt.
Yep.
I mean, my wife and I, like, if I tell her, like, casually, I go, "Oh yeah, there's a new Bad Ben movie." She goes, "Well, why haven't we watched it yet?" It's like, it's infectious. It's like coronavirus.
He is infectious. Yes.
He truly is.
I'll never forget watching that first movie. After about the 7th, God damn it, I was like, is this a comedy? Like, I don't.
Every time I say,
so
"God damn it," I think, "Oh, Nigel." Like, I get a smile.
You say it in his voice now.
God damn it.
I literally say it like that. I do.
And I always say it when I'm wearing my slides.
I wish the man did not ignore us, because I would love to talk to him about these movies. I love them so much.
Open invitation to come on the show anytime, because we love you.
I mean, do you remember when he did? Was it the third one where he had the ghost hunting crew and flip flops and an iPad?
Yeah.
And they did like a live stream with him when the movie released, and they specifically asked him about us multiple times, and he was like, "I don't know who that is." I'm like, "You're full of shit, dude. We have had so many people contact you trying to get you on this show."
Look, we're going to drive down to Jersey. We're going to grab Tim Meyer on the way, and we are going to go down there and knock on his damn door after we've stopped at the brewery down there. And then we're going to knock on the door and insist we come in.
Yeah, and I want to go around back and go digging in the trees in his backyard. See if I can find that.
I want to go in the attic.
Actually, yeah, if we wanted to do some B&E, we know the exact layout of his house. It would not be a problem.
I know. Jesus Christ. Gave us all we need.
I heard there's a lot of cameras in that place, guys. You got to be careful.
That's true.
All right, I'll just dress like a Jersey Devil.
Yes. Dude, I actually thought about putting Bad Ben on my list, not because it's one of the best movies, but just because the mileage we've gotten out of it. And
it's the most enjoyment we've gotten.
It's a sentimental favorite
on this show.
Yeah. That man, I don't know what it is about him. He just makes me laugh. I think he is funny as hell. Whether on purpose or not, half the time doesn't matter. He makes me laugh.
Yeah,
So,
he's great. He is a treasure.
he is.
I like the 75-minute idea though too.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
All right, my number 2 is a movie that is one of those ones that I wasn't sure what to expect. The trailer did nothing for me, and then it just knocked me out of my seat. It's Overlord.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
What a surprise that movie was. From the opening, kind of like it almost looks like Zack Snyder's take on Saving Private Ryan with that.
Much better.
You know, it had like a Zack Snyder look to it as far as the special effects and everything were going, but it had like the intensity of like that D-Day thing. And then, you know, this movie just unfolds and it never devolved into, I just thought it was going to be a video game adaptation kind of movie. And instead it was this great movie with great characters, tension. That one, the New York soldier guy, I thought I was going to hate him, and he ends up being great. Just so many great moments. The dude who played the dude from Game of Thrones, who was the villain in this, the Nazi guy.
Yeah,
I mean, what a hateable guy he was.
Love Nazis.
So that's one of those ones that when like I'm looking when I'm going to
wait, just love Nazis.
When I'm going to when somebody says, "Oh, recommend a horror movie for me," that's one of the ones to be like, "Oh my god, have you seen Overlord? You got to see that." Just go see that. And
dude, I remember around Christmas time, I sat my mother down. I'm like, "We're watching this." I said, "Remember how Dad loved war movies? Yeah, is it a war movie? Yes." And I didn't know how she would go because it's two different movies. And when it was over, she goes, "Man, that was really good." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right, baby."
And it brought us Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah,
it did.
Well, I remember going, "That kid looks like Kurt Russell." Didn't even know.
I specifically said if they ever remake Escape from New York, he would be perfect. And I had no clue that was his kid.
Call me Snake.
Which brings me to my number 1, which was Overlord.
I had a feeling.
I have revisited this movie more than anything else we've watched. In fact, I just had some friends. The wife does not like horror movies at all. And I was selling her, it's a war movie at the beginning. It becomes a horror movie, but it's so good. I think you'll like it, even though she hates these movies. And that movie's so crazy, but she freaking loved it. She said it was excellent. And this was another movie-going experience I remember because I was incredibly hungover when I went into the movies on Saturday. I did not want to watch the movie because the trailer was so bad that I had zero interest in this. And once the beginning sequence happens and the guy is on the ground, I turned to my wife and I said, "Is this really good or is it just me? Because I feel like shit and I'm wondering if my brain isn't processing this right." And from then on, what a roller coaster.
By the way, Pam Morris says, she says, "We were disappointed in Overlord. To be honest, I will say, Pam, you need to hand in your horror card and you need to go fixate on, I don't know, rom-coms."
And we know Pam Morris doesn't like horror movies. I remember thinking the biggest lull in this is when these guys are hiding in an attic and there's a Nazi downstairs and there's this whole intense rapey vibe about, going on. And that is the slowest part of the movie. And it's super intense. And if you love over the top, gory fight scenes and stuff, not torture porn, but just crazy gore effects, this felt like a throwback.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody to watch this movie because it flopped at the box office and I want more stuff like this. It's just a blessing. I don't even know how many times I've watched it, 7 or 8.
Wow. Holy crap.
I love this
movie.
movie.
Like 2 years old too.
I know, man. Somebody comes over the house like, "Let's watch a movie. Have you seen Overlord?" No. There we go.
Wow.
Good stuff.
All right. My number 1. As much as we crap on a particular individual who watches this show and is part of us now, Tim Meyer, I will say my favorite show ever that we did was the Greasy Strangler. I will never forget this movie. I might one day change my entire wardrobe to nothing but Greasy Strangler prints, I haven't found any yet, but I'm sure they're out there.
You already look like the naked guy in that movie. So.
Let me go into the drive-in. Amazing. This movie just blew my mind. Like Jack, me and you were talking about the courage of the people in this movie to get as naked as they did is a testament to the human spirit. It's unforgettable. And
that it is.
It's not so bad. It's good. It's so strange. It's amazing. Like,
it's not bad. It's good. It's undefinable.
And I gotta buy the Blu-ray of this. This is like one of those ones I just want to have, so I can just pop it in when I want.
I don't feel like it's that level. I think it's a thing. It was good to watch. It was one of those ones I would remember like Mother's Day back in the day.
Like,
oh my God, did you ever see the Greasy Strangler? And it'd be good fun to revisit every once in a while, but I don't think I need it in my collection.
I grew up on Liquid Sky when they're talking about a killer cunt from outer space. So this is kind of like right in there.
This is one of those, I feel like if you have somebody who's like, oh, you know what? I don't really like gross movies. If you want to see them vomit in person, put this movie on.
Rudy Tooty Disco Cutie. Rudy Tooty.
You could definitely clear a room if you wanted to get rid of guests by putting.
Let me tell you, you watch this movie. All right, say you're married. You're married and you're fighting. And I took pre-Cana as a Christian, and I remember the priest telling us, if you're in a fight with your wife, just take all your clothes off and it will stop the fight. And I tried it a couple of times. The first 2 times it worked. Third time didn't. She punched me in the naked balls. But if you just throw out Rudy Tooty Disco Cutie in the middle of a fight, it ends it. Especially if she's seen the movie. Trust me, it works. I might use it later on tonight. But this is life advice. You come here for the reviews. I'm giving you life advice. So watch this with your significant other and then put that in the back of your mind. It will end every fight.
Someone's going to listen to this tomorrow and call in a wellness check on you.
Look, it's happened before. It's fine. Come on up to the attic.
This is just a deranged man with no pants on in his attic.
Yeah. Wait, I got
drooling.
Pants on. I got pants on, see?
The cops will come in who'll have the Greasy Strangler on. They'll be like, oh, yeah, he's mentally ill.
I even have long pants on tonight.
Awesome.
Hey, did Pam Morris actually log out after you said that?
Well, she was. She was in the process of, and I wanted to get that out there before she left. I don't know how anyone could not like Overlord. That's like one of the ones I can't wrap. Like, look, you don't like Greasy Strangler. I understand. That's good. You weren't touched by an uncle.
It's an acquired taste.
Overlord, I don't get that one.
Yeah, that's one of those. If you're a horror fan, I feel like Overlord is like the glue that holds us together. It's one of those films everybody enjoys.
Exactly. And by the way, I'd rather be greasy than moist.
You're just working on getting me divorced.
Isn't there a
one
scene
episode
in that?
at a time?
I'm working on my face getting punched. You'll be fine. I'm gonna.
Isn't there a scene in that movie where the guy walks through a car wash to get the grease off of him?
Oh yeah,
several times.
It's the greatest thing ever.
All right. This is my number one, or is that what we're up to?
You won. Yes, this is it.
My number one is another one of those movies that the trailer did nothing for me. I kind of went in like, oh, here we go. And then I'm watching it going, what? Wait, what? Then it happens partway through the movie. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I have watched it several times since then. It's Hereditary.
That's a great movie.
Love it. Now, I watched the video today. I'm actually going to post it on Twitter tomorrow. An examination of hidden things in the movie. Some of it I knew and some of it I didn't. I'm going to watch this again in the next couple of weeks because now there's stuff I didn't even notice and there was meaning behind certain symbols and stuff that I'm like, oh my God, this movie's even better than I realized it was.
Where did you learn this?
I'll send you a link to the article. There's like a guy. It's like all I'm gonna put it on Twitter tomorrow, but I'll send it to you after the show.
Is there more to the dioramas? Because that was something I remember us talking about that I never looked into it.
He gets a little bit into the dioramas. There's stuff. There's hidden cult figure members in different scenes. There's stuff to decapitations. There's little things. like stuff that's in the back seat of somebody's car that had meaning and stuff like that. Like it's fascinating watching. Going, oh my god, I didn't realize. I got a lot of the levels of this, but I watched it. I got to go back and watch it again now. And
I like
I've
how
watched
the shots of the outdoor stuff look like miniatures.
Yeah,
That was
Like dioramas.
dioramas.
and the episode of Community I watched before this had dioramas in it.
Oh, excellent.
You know, every time I think of that movie, that scene in the car about midway through is one of the biggest shocks I've ever had watching a movie.
That's what I was talking about.
God, I couldn't believe it. I'll never forget that.
I kept waiting for it to change. Well, that didn't really happen. That's a dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm spacing on the lead actress's name, Toni Collette.
Toni Collette. Oh my god.
Should have won a freaking Oscar for that movie. She was so good.
Yeah.
Seriously.
If you want the epitome of pain and agony from loss, that's right there. No one's gonna beat that. No one.
Yeah. Right at the beginning of the movie, she's giving that speech about her mother, and you can just tell so much about their relationship because of her performance. I mean, she killed it.
Yeah.
Horror is finally getting a little bit of recognition in the Academy, but I feel like it should have started with her because she smashed that movie.
She did.
Yeah. So I had picked this before I watched that hidden things video, and it reinforced it. So I'm like, oh, this movie's even better than I realized. Well, having watched that video, so I'm gonna probably pop it in this week.
Yeah, pop
Nice.
it in, pop off.
Yeah, send me that. I want to check that out because I need to revisit it while I'm locked in my house. Might as well do it.
Dude, I've got a whole bunch of 50s like sci-fi monster movies and stuff loaded up. I went on Amazon Prime yesterday. I think I put 20 movies on there. I'm set.
My Prime list is out of control. There are so many 70s, 80s, and 90s films that I always saw in the store but never wanted to rent because I was pretty sure it was going to suck. They're all on Prime now. So I have just bad movies to watch forever.
Well, I'm glad we all had different, like we agreed on the bottom ones, but I'm glad we all had different top ones. Well, Hereditary aside.
A couple of the other ones that caught me off guard. I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites, but Happy Death Day was one of those ones I did not want to see at all, and turned out to be a good movie.
So good. We were just watching that today.
That was so good. I was so pleased with that movie.
I'm looking forward to the third one.
Are they actually going to make it?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that
it
was
was
coming.
written as a trilogy, so yeah, there'll be a third.
All right. So with that, I think we need to get to. Oh wow, yeah, it's time to get to the main feature, which is going to be.
We just started because we're not going to give this one short shrift.
No, we're going long tonight.
Yeah.
But let's get to it. Let's go to the main feature.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right. Tonight's main feature is Glenn Danzig's Verotika.
Mother!
This guy, if there's anybody who's trying to sound like the Cult when he sings, it's this guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Fire! Cult way better than Danzig.
What are you talking about?
Absolutely.
But this is before your time. I've seen them all. I've seen both of them many times live. I saw the Cult with like 100 people around me once.
You know what? I've never seen either one.
Oh my god,
the Cult is awesome.
Amazing.
The Cult is awesome. So my tweet while watching this movie was something to the effect of, "Oh my god, it's like a headbanger dungeon master, 8th grade headbanging dungeon master was given a small budget and free reign to make whatever movie he wanted to make."
In between masturbating, he got to make a movie.
I actually thought that with my Dungeons and Dragons background and your porno heavy metal upbringing, that if we had met like in 8th grade and got a budget, this might have been the movie we made. Because I would have been like, we need more swords and sorcery kind of stuff. And you're like, yeah, but we need strippers. I'm like, all right, can you find some? Yeah.
Well, I will say they might have said they needed strippers, but I don't know what the F they found. Zombie strippers.
Porn stars.
Well, there were hardcore and softcore porn stars in this movie, but the strippers sucked. I had a friend who owned a strip club. I've seen strippers. I lived in strip clubs a long time ago. These were terrible strippers.
The reason that they suck, and we could get into this, we haven't even synopsized this yet, but there are scenes in this movie where they just show like a strip club and they show the stripper dance for like 5 minutes.
Oh, and not dance. Just kind of gyrate, not doing much of any, not earning that money.
We definitely need to go in order, but I do want to say the one part of the strip show that was my favorite is when she had the cape and she just swung it back and forth in front of herself for like a minute and a half.
You know where I do when a woman does that at a strip club? Put my money away. And I go somewhere else.
Is that what you call it?
I go play Joker poker in the back.
So this is an anthology in some ways, I guess.
By the way, yeah, somebody should have warned me because I hate anthologies. So this is a double punch to the testes.
With adult film star Caden Cross as the sort of horror host who,
by the way, who is hot as can be.
Is a smoke show.
Yes.
Who wants to kind of give a quick synopsis of this while I eat a candy bar?
I want Hunter to do this one because he loves this movie so much.
I hate you. All right. Glenn Danzig is the lead singer of Danzig. Go figure. Saw him in the 80s several times. Always an opening act for a reason. He has a comic book that he puts out. Verotika? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, is this still a thing? I'd never heard of it.
So who knows? Anyway, this is a 14-year-old masturbatory thing that he does on his comic books, and he made a movie out of it, and he directed it. And Jason, you had said that people have said that this is the Room of horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And God damn if you weren't right. This is the Room mixed with Tales from the Crypt, maybe, and it's 3 different stories that go
I use the term
nowhere.
stories lightly.
I can't narrative story. I don't even know what the hell to call these things.
Segments.
Concepts.
They're like dreams. Like if you just woke up and filmed your dream when you're already forgetting parts of it.
With like dialogue that never makes sense.
Yeah. We don't need endings. Ending.
Yeah, no. So you've got a stripper with eyes in her titties. You've got.
I'm gonna need more fuel for this.
Take more. You got
I
a
just
Madam
cracked my other one.
Bathory thing. What's the second one? I don't.
That's
even
the
remember.
stripper one.
Oh, the stripper one. The stripper, Mystery
Mysterious
or what the hell that is.
Mystery Girl or something like that.
You got a stripper who takes faces. Jesus Christ.
The spider guy. The spider. The albino spider.
I can't wait to talk about the first.
If an abortion ever slipped out of the pail where it was thrown into, this is what it would be if it could just like splatter onto celluloid.
There's a reason you're a horror author. That was an unfortunate description.
Unfortunate, but incredibly correct.
Now, should we just ring the spoiler bell right off the bat and just get into this movie?
Don't ring
100%.
the bell. We're just helping people. Ring the bell because we're just helping people.
Yeah, I mean,
we spent $4 freaking for this.
Yes,
movie.
I'm buying the Blu-ray of this movie.
We're spoiling this.
Support this. What's the matter with you?
I want 100 of these. Are you kidding me? Have you seen my YouTube channel?
That's true. It is up your alley.
It's just like so much content for me.
So, do we need to go around and ask what we thought of it? Because
it was the shittiest movie I have seen in a long, long time. It's the most misogynistic piece of masturbatory crap that I've ever witnessed put into film.
I need to watch it again, but this might be in my top 5 favorite bad movies. And I've seen some shit, but when people say this is the Room of horror, that's literally what it is. It's like good.
It needs to be watched not alone. You need to be with like-minded, because we were alone watching this, and I was just infuriated.
It was just my wife and I, but I had drinks, and I was like, "This is great."
My daughter watched it with me for a while, and I was like, "Oh Christ, please go out of the room."
This would have been so much better if we watched this after we did Monster Man.
Without my children.
Without your children, just us two.
My adult children, but
with
still
a
children.
couple of drinks in us, tired
Yeah.
from doing 3 or 4 episodes, eating some chicken fingers or whatever, and having a drink.
Yes.
And just talking while we're watching it and making jokes. Like,
of
I would
course.
love the 3 of us, if we could do a Mystery Science Theater where we just see our silhouettes while we watch this. That would be a blast.
Maybe that should be our 200th episode. We all get together and rewatch this movie.
Oh my god.
You know, we could do, they just did a watch party for that thing you do where the cast reunited, and they did a
Really?
countdown, and they all started the movie at the same time, and then they talked about it while it played. We could do that anytime.
Here's the thing. Glenn Danzig is 64 years old.
Really?
Yeah, he is definitely a case for you don't need to ever have any personal growth in your life. You can die the same way you were at 16. And in a way that's maybe encouraging. You know, maybe it's kind of cool. I can always be immature. I don't know.
Now, Jason, before we get into it, one thing I did see a behind the scenes thing on this.
What?
And what we've got are actresses who are English speaking actresses doing French accents.
Mhm.
Oh, terribly.
Not French actresses trying to speak English.
Just watch a Pepe Le Pew show and you'll get the accent right.
So what did you think of the accents?
Ugh.
There is one clip in the middle of the. So this is the first segment, which I guess I'll try to explain once we get to that part. But there's one part in the middle where I think he's a photographer at a shoot. It was really hard to tell what's happening. Like,
Yes.
but he goes, "Oh, she needs the right homes," and it was so many Z's and S's. We rewound it 3 times. I had no clue what the hell that guy was trying to say.
No.
There
It
was one
glorious.
part where same it was the albino spider one, and the friend of the main character goes into the fridge and she says something like, "Oh, there is milk, and there is," I forget how she says
Beer.
something like, but she says it like beer,
Yeah.
or something like that. And the
Oh,
way she said beer was so bad.
No French person has ever said
Yeah.
beer like that.
Who the hell opens the fridge and is like, "Do I want milk or do I want beer?"
Who says it out loud?
I never even consider milk. If there's beer, it's beer.
Okay, so I've been wanting to do this since watching this. The first segment is about a woman who is trying to sleep with men. She's a model or something.
There's
my
like
God.
a
Ashley
5.
Wisdom, who is gorgeous.
That's
There is
his
a-
girlfriend.
Very fake.
Oh, it is?
Mhm.
It starts with 2 people hooking up on a couch, and they make out for like 5 minutes before anything happens.
There's a lot of lingering here.
Yes, like
So much linger. By the third one, the lingering is off the chart.
I can't. I want to talk about the filmmaking so much. I'm so excited. So anyway,
Yeah.
Glenn Danzig's, I believe, porn star girlfriend is the star of this segment.
Wait, she's his girlfriend?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I-Tit is his girlfriend.
Oh,
So
tit eyes.
tit eyes, yeah.
I like it to die.
So she's making out with this dude, and things are getting hot and heavy, and she's giving him a blowjob while his pants are on, which is brilliant filmmaking.
Cock never out.
He's trying to pull her top off. She's in like a half a wife beater and no bra, and she's freaking out. And when he finally, it starts getting rapey for some reason,
Yeah.
and then he pulls her top up, and she has eyeballs where her nipples are. The guy freaks out and leaves. Her tit eyes cry, and a tear falls on a spider that was across the room.
Wait, do they cry or do they lactate?
Sure. And then the spider, in a beautiful CG segment, turns into Goro from Mortal Kombat, who then kills people indiscriminately when Tit Eyes is asleep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when I
he
say
like
Goro,
manifests when she's asleep or something.
Yeah.
By the way, first of all, my daughter and I are watching that part, and she goes, "Wait, he's a spider. Why does he only have 6 arms?" I go, "Maybe we'll count the 2 legs for the 8
The
arms."
awesome fake arms.
But he's
that are
got
just
2 like
bouncing.
dead fake arms that just like bouncing. It's just sides whenever.
At one point, you can see when you got a full body shot, and his costume has ripped,
In
and the crotch,
in the crotch, yeah.
and it's just open. It looks like he's wearing a loincloth.
That's clearly where the seam is. So Danzig is like, you know what? We're not going to film from high. We're going to film from low, so you can see right up the costume's crotch. This segment is one of the greatest things I have ever watched. As soon as the French accents start, I'm like, is this supposed to be French? Why? Why are they supposed to be French?
This is the definition of wooden acting, too.
Well, when the spider guy is holding the girl's eyes open and talking to her, that dialogue was where I said, this felt like of 8th grade Dungeons and Dragons guys were writing a script to a movie.
Look, I took film class. I was practicing to be a cameraman, so we all had to do these movies in college. Those movies were way better than the direction, lighting, camera work in this. Holy Jesus.
We should mention, written, directed, produced, and shot by Glenn Danzig.
Glenn Danzig.
Oh, and he did the music.
Oh, yeah.
What was I thinking? I should have mentioned that.
By the way, that's the best part of this is the music. Because that's what he knows.
And
I wouldn't say that was the best.
that's not saying much.
It's dated. It gave me a little bit of the feels for the 80s, but do they ever?
I think Caden Cross was the best part of this movie.
Yeah,
she was brutal.
Although
in
it
this.
looks like she has her implants out. I like it. And so let's go to the next story.
Yes.
Well, all right. Sure.
She says that, and then the camera just stays on her for another 2 minutes. And she's
I know, like,
let's go to the next story.
when are they going to call cut? I'll just do this now.
Every scene in this ends with somebody waiting for Glenn Danzig to say cut, and he just doesn't. And you think in editing, they'd be like, okay, we need to cut 20 seconds off each shot. And he's like, no, hold it right there. In the awkward moment when no one is acting anymore, that's filmmaking.
By the way, now that first story, so the lactate brings the spider to life. He goes killing people. There is never an explanation why she has eyes for nipples.
Nothing.
No.
And people. Okay, so at the end, these cops break into. Somehow they find Tit and Goro. There's no explanation for how.
One of the cops is from The Hills Have Thighs.
Oh, he's a Cinemax guy.
And
I
the
hate
Bear
the
Wench
fact-
Project.
Yeah. I go. I want to go. I can't believe I'm recognizing a guy from a Cinemax.
He looks
movie.
like David Arquette.
Yes, that guy.
So, do you remember when they showed up at the apartment door and they had the ram and they're like
And they
pretending to hit
Barely
the door?
hitting the door.
yeah, they didn't want to wake up any neighbors.
They break in and there's an albino dude with 6 arms, 4 of which aren't moving, like he had a stroke. and they're not scared by this. They shoot the guy.
Well,
Wait. You didn't notice this. Stuckman pointed this out in the video I watched, so I didn't catch this. He was strangling her and she's on the ground now. So he does not have his hands on her. They break in and they go, take your hands off of her.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Well, I liked when they kill him and they're standing over him and they're like, oh, he has 6 arms. That's it. That's all they're worried about. That
Sacre bleu.
they go over, they look at her and they're like, she has eyes on her nipples. That's it.
I'll put it in my report.
Now, at one point, this spider guy is in an alleyway and he's talking to a hooker or something who's is not looking at him.
Oh my God. Do you like what you see? He's around the corner. He can't see a damn thing.
Ass fuck is my specialty.
Yeah.
By the way, the nipple eyes, I like when the guy says, when he pulls off her shirt, your tits are looking at me.
I forgot about that.
But after one of the murders, the cops, what do they say? Some of the murders, they go, the woman's been murdered. We will call him the woman's neck is
The neck breaker.
The neck breaker.
Oh, the hooker. My favorite line. She says, "Fuck is my specialty."
So she says, "Ass fuck is my specialty."
As fuck
Yeah.
is God Almighty.
So I think I've definitely watched way too many bad movies because my wife and I were picking up on like all kinds of crazy shit. When she decides, when Titties decides to kill herself. And they're just, first of all, they're just pills splayed out on an end table. She doesn't keep them in the bottle for some reason. She just picks up a phone from like the 30s.
Yeah.
Holds it to her ear and just starts talking to emergency, to like 911. Doesn't dial, nothing. She just picks her phone up straight to 911.
Because her tits have eyes, but her thighs have fingers that you couldn't see. It's a lot going on with that girl.
There's so many moments like that just defy logic and explanation. It's very much like The Room, where it feels like an alien decided to make a movie and they think they understand our culture, so they just start filming stuff and it comes out super weird and makes no sense and doesn't seem like a human made it.
By the way, the sets. I was a set designer in high school. I did a couple of plays so I could get close to a girl I thought was really hot. I did a way better job than what was going on in here in 1985.
When you light everything with blue and orange, it's not going to look good anyway. So I don't know.
And by the way, did they call somebody who's been in a hole since 1995 to do the CG?
Oh, dude,
the spider looked like,
they went to his GeoCities friggin' website and said, "You look like you know what you're doing. Make some CG for this movie."
When they make a lot of these movies, they do like very quick renders to kind of see how it's going to look, and then they actually do this. It looks like just that quick render, and he was like, "Good enough."
Yeah, that's fine. Spent $1 million already. Let's go.
You're talking about the sets. I noticed several shots because for some reason Danzig thinks it looks good to shoot up people's noses. There were so many missing ceilings or shots of like broken drywall in the ceilings. Like,
doesn't he ever watch Instagram? It's up and down. That's how it works.
Oh
Jesus.
God.
But he is 64. He might not know what Instagram is.
Baby.
All he knows is adult friend finder.
The sets you were talking about, when she's talking to him on the corner about how her specialty is ass fuck. Like, why couldn't you just stand on a corner? Like with a real building? Why did you have to build that corner? It just looked so bad. Because
nobody would give a permit to this steaming pile of shit. That's why. They're not Larry Cohen. They can't do a guerrilla shooting.
You mentioned the Bear Wench Project. There actually was a time back in the day, like when when Cinemax used to show the Skinemax stuff. It was like Friday and Saturday nights, like once 11:30, and you'd run into something like the Bear Wench Project. You'd be like, "Oh my God,
so much silicone."
And Stormy Daniels was in one of those.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So I'm watching this and I'm reminiscing about like that exact movie. I'm going, this is amazing that I'm watching this going, this guy could have learned something from the supernatural Skinemax movies that did this better than he did. Like,
what was the point of this? Did he want to be a horror movie or a Cinemax movie from 2002? Like what was his goal?
I don't know.
Jesus.
Was there anything else in this segment I was trying to think of? I mean, the whole thing is glorious, but
yeah, let's get to the second one. The strip.
So the second one is so this is about a stripper
face-off
mystery girl who has killed 13 people and taken their faces. But when you go to her apartment, which is just a wall with a mirror, some candles, and not 13 faces,
like 6.
Yeah. So
well, maybe they shrivel up. If they're hanging on a wall, they're going to shrivel up. And by the way, her face isn't that bad that she needs to keep facing people.
So she kills people, but she stops and tells them first, "I'm going to kill you and take your face." And the person doesn't run away, and it just goes, "No,
not my face,
not my face."
It's the best acting in the whole movie.
Holy crap! Just stand there, and then like the jump cut to, "I've got you in a headlock. I'm gonna take your face."
And an Elvira kind of looking woman is the.
Well, she looked kind of like Joan Jett, right? She had a Joan Jett, Pat Benatar kind of look.
I was getting Elvira,
right? Like a woman with some scars on her face is killing strippers and taking their face.
Yeah,
off.
It's like the old Eyes Without a Eyes Without a Face.
So she could strip in a burqa where you can't see her face anyway. So what was the point, as Archie Bunker would say?
Exactly.
And then you had the grizzled detective
Oh, Jesus
and the
Christ.
cops
His voice.
who are chasing her. What do we
By the
got
way,
here?
The bald cop might have done the best acting in the whole movie. The guy who breaks into the dressing room.
He had that sincerity going.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the whole movie is when they go to the first crime scene and there's two cops and he's like, "All right, fill me in on what's going on."
Oh
and
my God.
The cop who's talking to him is like barely remembered his lines. He's like,
Yep.
"Well, we got a crime scene with the woman there and she doesn't have a face and there's no motive and there's no clues."
The media, that's just what we need.
Yeah.
It's every piece of shit inane cop banter that's ever been in any horrible cop show.
But it's
But
the
then
banter
the other
that
cop
happens.
is eating the. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's the banter that happens before the detective gets to the scene in a movie that makes sense. In this, he's looking at the body, and the cop is just describing the look of the body while they're standing there. It's like,
And then there's another cop just sitting there eating a donut. That's like the comic relief.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way, the mystery girl stripper is the ultimate COVID-19 stripper. She's got her face covering. So
True.
she's not going to get any infection on you. So I thought that was apropos for this time, even though it was made last year.
I hope I'm not blowing the audio out. I'm so excited about this movie. I'm like yelling into the microphone.
Oh my God. This is
Yeah, the whole story I didn't understand. So she's cutting women's faces off to wear them,
right.
but
And then covering her face.
but then covers it.
Mhm.
yeah, it didn't seem like her face was changing appearance. So I was like, is she wearing the skins
No.
or putting them on her?
And covered her nipples. So really, what's the point of all this?
One thing
Well,
that happens
she
in
must have been stripping in Jersey, where you can only have go-go dancers where they cover their nips.
the
So
bada bing.
that's why I figured out this. Oh, okay, this is a Jersey stripper.
One of the things that all three segments have is that basically the only story is that the same thing happens 2 or 3 times in a very long plotting fashion.
Plotting?
The
Really?
plotting.
It's like, hey, let me get some strippers that are in the throes of a fresh shot of heroin who can barely move and engage you. It was the worst strip club I've ever seen in my effing life.
But like this middle segment is just she kills somebody, takes their face, goes to the strip club and dances. Rinse, lather, repeat. And they do that like 3 times
Yeah.
until the climax. Like, but it's just long.
There was
and
no
drawn out.
climaxing with this.
Yeah,
stripping.
there's no arc. There's no nothing.
ending.
It's just same thing with the first and the last one. It's
There's
just like,
no denouement to any of these. If you are a denouement fanatic, you're not going to get it in this one. This is going to be like Edging. You're going
If
to
you-
have to find a movie to finish.
One of those idiots who thinks a story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. You're not going to be happy with it.
Fucking fool.
Morons. So I want to say my favorite 2 things in this. The first one might be my favorite, but I didn't think about it till afterwards. Is she kills a blonde woman in her apartment who puts up no fight at all.
Nope.
She cuts her face off and then leaves. And when the detectives are in there, they find a business card that belonged to the stripper. What stripper has a business card?
None I've ever met.
Like, what the
Or
hell?
dated.
And she leaves it behind, and they're like, oh, well, this is the murderer. And then that's how he finds her. And then what he does, she grabs him from behind and is cutting his throat, but she's cutting him on the jawline. And he delivers some amazing dialogue. And then
I'll kill you, you bitch.
so
shoots-
this scene. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say he shoots in front of him,
Yeah.
but somehow hits her while she's behind him.
Twice.
And then when she runs away while bleeding, he just goes on a tirade about how he's going to catch her. I'm like,
Don't
well,
go after her.
just she's right there. Just walk through the door. You shot her like multiple
She's
times.
hurt. You're hurt. I'm sure you guys can meet in the middle.
It's like,
Awesome.
I'm going to get you. Then it's like 6 months later, she's just dancing at another club.
The
And that's the
end.
end. The
Cue
end.
Caden Cross to come on in, put a face mask.
And that's
on
where
a thing.
Caden Cross is just kind of like, okay, here's the next one.
We need to talk about the Caden Cross segments.
Yeah.
She doesn't talk about the segments like at all. She doesn't introduce the next one. It's like, why is she there?
And now for the next.
Yeah.
Hello, my darkness pretties or whatever.
And I noticed her implants are out. So she's much smaller breasted than in her heyday. But Caden Cross, I think she directs and produces porno movies now. So she's on the other side of the camera.
Anything she can't do?
Nothing she can't do. Nothing.
I would be willing to bet they're much more competently made than this.
Yes, I've seen them. Way better.
Oh god.
Yeah, but the transition to the third one, literally, it's like they just turned on the camera and she's like, "Okay, there's the next one."
Here, all right. The third one is a Madame Bathory retelling. The only silver lining in this dark cloud of bullshit, nobody really talks.
Nobody does anything.
No,
and it's like a half hour long.
It's so long.
Just want to watch a woman just bathing in blood and randomly having Virgins or whatever she was calling them.
Virgins.
Throat slit and whatever, so she could bathe a little more. I mean, that's literally all that is.
And over and over again. This one was the biggest culprit. It was like, kill somebody, bathe in blood, lick the blood, enjoy the blood. Then there's some horses at one point. That was like the most
getting a donkey show.
Set. And then just back, and then there's no conclusion.
Nope.
Well, that was in keeping in line with all of them.
On Twitter, our boy Steve Barnard had the best description of the third segment. He said, "I liked spending 10 minutes watching the girl take a bath, followed by 10 minutes of watching her stare into a mirror, followed by another 10 minutes of watching her ride a horse through the woods. That segment fucking rules."
When she was looking in the mirror,
amazing.
When she was looking in the mirror, she kept going out and in and out.
You could literally do the laundry and miss nothing in that.
So I went to the bathroom when she started looking in the mirror. I went to the bathroom and got food and came back, and she was still looking in the mirror in one take.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually started folding laundry.
And you can tell she kept waiting for him to say cut, and he's not. So she just keeps doing the same thing.
And don't edit it at all. Please, just put it all in there.
There's one point where she slits somebody's neck who's hanging upside down, and then you can kind of see her pumping the blood pack with her hand while...
Look, I think we all need to give Ed Wood a pass now. Ed Wood is now elevated because Glenn Danzig has taken the bottom tier for worst director in history. We're never going to review a movie worse than this.
No, we won't. But I've seen worse. But I will say, if his next one compares anything to this, he's already in the upper tier. There's another guy I know you guys haven't seen who's a goddamn genius. His name is Neil Breen. Mm-hmm. Someday I will introduce you to him. It's amazing. It's the same kind of stuff where you're like, what? What are you saying? I don't understand.
One of the problems with this movie is this. We used to discover movies like this because we turned on cable at midnight on a weekend when we were a teenager, and something like this that was like 10 years old was showing. You're like, oh my God, I saw this weird movie, Verotika. What a holy crap. Or you came in halfway through it or something, or you were at the video store and you just grabbed it, and you discovered it. Here we're like, oh, it's a new release with all, when we can read about it and all this stuff. So you go into it like watching it more like with a more critical eye because you're not a teenager and you're not drunk on a Saturday night with your friends or something. Like, this movie should be watched with your horror movie friends, with a few drinks. Yeah, and it's a movie that's better stumbled upon than pay-per-viewed.
Had I rented this in a movie store and watched it by myself, I would have burned the store down.
Oh my God. I actually burned my living room down. So
that's
why I'm up here.
I'll say it again though. This is totally like an after we do Monster Men, we always watch a horror movie and have a couple of drinks. If we had gotten this from Vinegar Syndrome or something, we would be like, yeah, what a piece of crap movie, but we would have laughed our asses off because we were with each other.
And I would have paid $30 for that movie on Vinegar Syndrome. By the way, Eric Smith says we have not seen Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. Maybe I think we need to
add it to the list. No, if you're going to watch a bad movie, you can't watch it alone. That's rule number one. And you can't watch it sober. That's rule number two. Otherwise, it's going to be the worst experience of your life.
I watched it alone and sober, and with my daughter for the first part. So, oh Jesus Christ!
One thing I did was
all I needed to do was resurrect my grandmother and put her on my lap when I watched it to make it worse.
I watched it during the day on Saturday or Sunday, so I was like, "This cannot be like my main feature. What am I watching tonight?" I had to like be able to be doing laundry and other stuff, like so that I couldn't just sit and like. Yes, if it sucked me in. But I was like, this can't be the main feature for tonight. It's got to be the prelim.
Yeah.
I do want to mention before we go that I feel like we're washing over just how boring that third segment was.
Oh,
most boring ever.
She gets somebody to buy a virgin in a village from the mother.
A virgin.
A virgin. Cuts her throat and bathes in her blood for freaking ever. Just keeps lifting her arm up and like running it down her arm over and over and over.
Oh.
And then she gets a wolf to go get her another virgin. And she cuts her throat. And then the most insane amount of blood just spews from this
arterial where there's no arteries.
It goes on forever. And then the mirror scene that never ends. And then she gets some guys to chase a woman in the woods, and then they cut her head off. And then it changes from she's bathing in blood for like eternal life or something to she's
Why are you evaluating this? What's the matter with you?
Because it's brilliant. And then she's collecting severed heads in the basement for some reason.
I have.
I couldn't think straight at this point. I'm just like, okay, what's going on? Please.
I can't think straight now.
Please stop.
I couldn't then. I can't now. I got to pee. It's just a mess right now.
It was incredible. And when it ends, Caden Cross is in the same tub that the queen was in, right? And I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be bathing in blood, but she's just like cupping red liquid and just turning it over.
A little on her arms.
Another,
Don't mess up your outfit.
Another extended cut where she says what she has to say, and then she's sort of standing there, so she just goes.
You could tell she's going, "Dear God, stop!"
Yeah,
she's like, I better just do something with my hands.
Yeah, like you can tell she's wearing the clothes she came in, and she's like, "I'm not getting this shit on me. I'm not acting like I'm in a bath of blood."
Oh my God!
Movie ends.
Biggest misogynist piece of garbage I've ever seen. Congratulations, Glenn Danzig. You got a reaction out of us.
This is one of my favorite movies ever. I'm going to show this to so many people.
Don't ever tell me about Greasy Strangler. There's some art in that one. Don't shame me now.
Words fail me.
There we go. That's 150. We can't make 150 any better than this.
Glenn Danzig is my new hero.
Next year it'll be 200, and God knows what we're going to come up with.
How are we going to top this movie? I don't know.
I don't know.
Can be done.
I don't know.
Who knows? Who cares?
All right, take us out, Jack, because I really got to pee.
Everybody, thanks for 150. Here's to 150 more. Everybody stay safe out there. Thanks for joining us. Everybody in the chat. Sheridan, thanks for the drinking words. Everybody else who supports us, thank you. We're going to keep going. We're having a blast. To you guys, cheers. It's been a great 150. Let's keep going. And next week, we're going to do Underwater.
Yeah, baby.
Stewart.
It's not going to top this. I'm sorry, but
we're not going to top this. But everybody do us a favor. Tweet out the link to this episode. Download the podcast. Share it with friends. Tweet it. Like us on Facebook. Give us a review. All that fun stuff. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Going to...
Game over, man.